Welcome to Tea with Tanya. I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose, an average millennial navigating life as a maternal health professional, nonprofit founder, and grad student. Join me in the tea tasting room where we spill the tea on finding balance and promoting positive living while doing it all. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of Tea with Tanya. Thank you for joining me here yet again for another episode in the tea tasting room. I hope the last time we were here, you did something positive for yourself, whatever that may be. You know, we're on our health and wellness journey. The goal is for us to do something to incorporate some form or some level of self-care into our routine so we can be the best version of ourselves. I know for me, since the last time we spoke, first of all, let me just say I am in week 2. I'm about to approach week 3, I think, of grad school. I say I think because at this point it's been a lot that I'm already losing track of time. But the last week has just been crazy. Since we last spoke, it has been a whirlwind of a week. Not complaining, no complaints here, but since then, what happened in life? I moved. So essentially the only thing that was on my mind was moving into my new place. It was just packing up, unpacking, and I still haven't even unpacked everything because I'm going to keep it real. I'm one of those people that I prolong or I take my time when it comes to unpacking. Yes, I'm one of those girls as well. When I travel, it takes me a minute to unpack. It is what it is. But I have since moved in to a new place that I'm just feeling blessed and I'm grateful for that. But the last week, let me tell you, I completely forgot about school. School was not on my mind. Like it was on my mind, but it wasn't on my mind, if that makes sense. And all the assignments that I had, I absolutely forgot about doing them. So I had to hunker down and it was like a crunch. I had to get, mind you, there's a lot of classes that I'm taking, aka 4 heavy classes. And I just forgot about every single one of them. Because I did some assignments, they overachieving me. I did do some assignments ahead of time, but there were other assignments that were due and I just forgot about them. And I was a little bit stressed, somewhat overwhelmed, and I had to cram it all in. You know, when you're at the end of the semester, you had to cram all the assignments and cram for your exams. Well, I was doing that legitimately in week 2. But I don't foresee myself experiencing this again. Like I said, I was moving. That's a big deal. It was a moment of celebration. It was a moment of just being in that blessing, realizing that good things are happening for you, and just genuinely forgetting that I had other responsibilities as well. But I don't foresee myself doing that again for the rest of the semester because I've created a calendar, created a template on Notion. Like I am, to an extent, somewhat organized, but I am going to spend the next week making sure that I'm fleshing everything out. So that's what's been happening with your girl, with your friend, since the last time we spoke as well. So I'm hoping that I find my bearings and can have that level of consistency and time management down pat because I have a lot going on. I'm a grad student. I have my podcast. I have my nonprofit. I am also working a full-time job. I am a human being. I'm a person that has to be a friend, a sister, show up in other areas of my life. So time management as I'm on this journey as well is going to be something that I want to make sure that I establish again, reestablish, and maintain as well. And I also got a massage. It's been a long time since I've had a massage, and I actually went and got a massage because, again, your friend, I'm in the gym now. And when you're in that gym, the little aches and pains that you have when you just start the gym back. So that's what I've been doing. So I went and got me a massage, and that felt really good. Of course, I was there snoring on that bed. So embarrassing, but it is what it is. It felt good. So I do hope that you did something for yourself. That could be journaling, sitting in silence, because I'm in a phase where I'm working towards just being still, learning to be still, because we have a tendency of always going. So I hope you did something before you're back here in the tea tasting room. I hope you did something for yourself that made you feel good. All right. So today's tea, the tea of this week is caramel apple tea. The seasons are changing. It's getting ready to be fall, and I'm already feeling it. Not weather-wise in the sense as far as the heat, because I'm still here for the heat. But the mornings are a bit darker than usual, and I'm just not essentially ready for the fall. I know I did say I'm somewhat ready because my friends have encouraged me to get all excited and decorate my new place and everything for the season. So I am looking forward to that. to an extent. I'm just not looking forward to when it gets below 70 degrees. But nevertheless, today's tea, or the tea of this week, is caramel apple tea, which is a delightful beverage known for its sweet and fruity flavor. It's typically made by blending black tea with natural caramel and apple flavors. And that just sounds so yummy, so delicious. It is, it is caramel apple tea. And I'm trying to explore different types of tea. I actually do want to go to a tea blending class. I'm putting that on my list. I hope that can happen sooner rather than later. But caramel apple tea is essentially or particularly popular during the fall season, especially around the autumn and Halloween time. And that time is fastly, I can't even say slowly, it's fastly approaching when we think about it. So the combination of caramel and apple flavors complements the cool and crisp weather of the seasonal festivities. So that's something that I am looking forward to and glad that I was able to try. And the taste, it offers a pleasant blend of sweetness from the caramel and the tartness of apples. It's a very comforting drink, I must say, that can be enjoyed hot or cold depending on your preference. I'm a hot tea girl, but I'm also trying to explore more of a cold or cool tea. So this tea is pretty flexible. You can have it both hot and cold. And of course, I'm going to give you some benefits. It is not a medicinal tea. I will say that it is not a medicinal tea, but it can offer some benefits. It can work as an antioxidant. The black tea contains antioxidants that may help to protect your cells from damage. Just like any tea, it is there for hydration. It contributes to your daily fluid intake, and we're all about increasing our fluid intake as well from a water-based standpoint. And of course, when you think about the comfort, it's soothing and it's comforting, and it's a great choice for relaxing after a long day of work on the weekend. It's just a good tea. I do highly recommend you trying this caramel apple tea. And remember again, if you're looking for health benefits beyond the general comfort and hydration, herbal teas with specific medicinal properties might be a better choice. But for this week, we're going to be fun and flirty, and we're going to be engaged, trying the caramel apple tea. Now, as you know, the theme for this season is healthy mind and healthy body. Last episode, which was episode 1, we spoke about choosing yourself. And in today's episode, we're delving into a topic that is often overlooked, but it's crucial. And that is the relationship we have with ourselves. So as we navigate through this season, focusing on the importance of connection, we're going to explore the intricate and essential bond we hold with ourselves. And when I sat down to think about the direction I wanted to go with this episode, I'm going to be honest with you, I got in my feelings a tad bit because, it's this episode is in a sense was stretching me to be more honest than I thought I wanted to be quite honest. But when we talk about defining a healthy relationship with yourself, what exactly does it mean to have a healthy relationship with oneself? And that's a question that I've asked many times in therapy. I still ask myself as I'm on this new journey of in my elevation period, in my 6-month transformation, going through all the various changes, the challenges, the ups and downs that I've been through, let's say over the last year or so. It's a question that is worth pondering. What exactly does it mean to have a relationship with one's self? We've often heard the advice of to love yourself or learn to enjoy your own company. But really and truly, is that all there is to it? I think about that. Love yourself, enjoy your own company. We know that, but is that all there is to it really and truly? So let's unpack this a bit. Now, it is true, we are social beings. Many of us, we are social beings, and connections with others are indeed vital. Because it's also, when you think about it, it's very normal to seek fulfillment from various sources. Because really and truly, we were never designed to meet all our needs all alone. I don't care if you're a person, no new friends, or me, myself, and I, which again, nothing is wrong with that. But we weren't made, we weren't created, we weren't designed to meet all our needs alone. From the moment we were born, think about it this way. From the moment we were born, we had to rely on a village of caregivers, each fulfilling a unique role. We had to depend on our parents, our grandparents, whatever it is, whatever the role were in our village, we had to rely on them. So when you think about it, we were never meant to go about this world fulfilling all our needs. Because think about it this way, our relationship with ourselves, to me, and it traces back to our early years and how we were treated essentially by our caretakers. Because when we think about it, we talk about all these traumas that we have in life, but the relationship with ourselves, I think there's an impact when it comes to our childhood and the relationship on ourselves. And it goes back to our early years and how we were treated by our caretakers. They honestly did the best they could, but I don't think they could have possibly known our core selves, because you're bringing a human into this world. You don't know who we are at our core. And as I sit and reflect on my own journey at age 33, and every time I got to say age 33, I got to think, am I 34? Am I 32? But no, just 33. I realized that some of my current needs and behaviors are rooted deeply in my past. And it's not about changing who we are. It's about understanding how our early experiences shaped us. Because for me, like I've mentioned on this podcast before, I've been dubbed a people pleaser. It's like I'm always more focused on pleasing everyone, making sure everyone's needs are met, or focusing more on meeting my own needs all by myself and not essentially reaching out to others, whether that could be family members or close friends, whatever it may be, not essentially reaching out for help. But when it comes to me being the help or me helping other individuals, like for some reason, it becomes a priority. So I think that stems from maybe the things that we've seen in my childhood. Like, you've always seen, I know for me, I've seen my mom always helping, giving back to others in need and doing essentially the best she can to ensure that other needs are met as well. So I think I've adapted that. Not that is not a bad thing either. That's not me saying that, but I think the idea of always wanting to please others and being that way from such a young age, that now that I'm an adult, I can't believe I'm even saying that. But now that I'm an adult, it's somewhat hard to even put myself, or was somewhat hard to put myself first. I want to say, as we go about our journey and thinking about the relationship that we want with ourselves, I think we have to do a self-reflection or an audit on our life, because embarking on a path to a healthier or establishing a healthier relationship with yourself, it starts ideally with self-awareness. So the first thing we think about when we're thinking about how can I create or establish a healthy relationship with myself, it comes down to doing that self-reflection, doing that audit on your life. And that starts with self-awareness. Because for me, I began conducting a personal reflection / audit on my life, because I realized that I completely, or maybe did a 180 on the person that I am, or was rather. Like I completely changed who I was as a person to most likely appease to others, making sure others' needs were met, all these different things. And it was not the best feeling. I will say that it is not the best feeling when you realize that you are not living or walking in your purpose. And that's something that we have to realize. So I had to ask myself, what does my current relationship with myself look like? Like, you wanted, like from that outer body experience, you wanted to see how, observe your life from the outside looking in. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to observe the conversations that I was having with myself, observe how I reacted to situations that may have presented or were challenging as well. Like the thoughts that I had to myself about behavior. And I wanted to look at it like I was doing it as someone looking into my life, if that makes sense. Like, what did I see? Am I being too harsh or too critical on myself? Am I mean? These are things that we're having to look into. And then when you sit and think about the way in which you're observing your inner conversations, your reaction to different events, and your overall behavior, to me, I would say it was a bit enlightening. It was a bit scary at some point too. It was enlightening, but it put things into perspective. So I will say you want to take some time to observe the thoughts or the things that you say to yourself. What is your reaction? How do you treat yourself? Would you say these things that you're saying to yourself to someone else? Because one thing about us, not all of us, but actually one thing about me, I'm going to always be that person who's going to support and encourage others. But sometimes the thoughts and the things that I say to myself are not always the best. Because sometimes we are really essentially critical of ourselves more than others. And I think for me, I used to morph into who I thought others wanted or needed me to be. I became severely critical of myself. I even lost myself, essentially, if I can be honest. Like the Tanya that's talking to you right now, as you're listening to me, as you're driving, doing laundry, working out, whatever you're doing, the Tanya that's talking to you right now is not the Tanya from, let's say, over a decade ago. It's not the Tanya from 5 years ago. It's not the Tanya from 2 years ago. But of course, we evolve. We evolve and we're not meant to stay the same. But it's more about not remembering for me. It's more about not remembering exactly what my personality was like before I allowed certain individuals or certain things in my life. And there were times where I think I had to please others in order to be fulfilled. And what I mean by that, because one thing about me, I love, love, love being or love supporting others, love being of service to others. It's one of the reasons why I even started my nonprofit, Scrub Life Cares, to be honest, because I always want to give back to my community. But as I got older, I'm realizing, not just the community, but I'm realizing, am I genuinely being fulfilled? And this is in the relationship when it comes to like my friendship and everything. Am I really being fulfilled by being of use or of service to others, or am I just doing it now to be liked or to be loved or to be accepted? Because I've mentioned quite a few times on this podcast about trying to fit in, about legitimately, literally buying friendships, buying love, buying relationships because I wanted to be liked. So the lines for me got a bit blurry when it came to, am I doing things because I genuinely from my heart want to do it because I do love being of service to others? Or am I doing it because I'm seeking acceptance from others? I'm seeking that likability. And that's the question that I had to ask myself. And it honestly, it was a very hard question to answer, if I can be transparent with you. It was a very hard question to answer because I had to reel it back in. I had to go back again, like I mentioned earlier, to observe who I am from the outside looking in. And that's no easy feat, but you have to, when we're talking about building and establishing that relationship for yourself, you have to stay true to yourself. You have to be authentic. And I know that may sound cliche, but for me, the people-pleasing girl, the overachiever, the girl that wants to be liked, the girl who wanted to be liked and accepted by everyone, you have to do that deep audit on your life to ensure that you are not morphing into someone who's not your authentic self. Because when I think about the relationship with yourself, it doesn't mean you have to meet every need by yourself. So I don't want you to put that pressure on yourself. Because for me, let me back up. For me, on this journey to becoming the better version of myself, it meant that I had to remove myself from situations that were no longer serving me. And I think with that, oftentimes we see that quote that would say self-care or self-love or self-worth, knowing your self-worth, self-love, or even choosing yourself. It's selfish. It's not selfish because you don't want to get to a point in time where you're going to be settling. You don't want to get to a point in time where you've, like me in my past, lost who I was as a person to please someone, not living my authentic self. That to me places more burden on yourself. So your relationship with yourself means you're removing yourself from things that are no longer fulfilling to you, no longer beneficial to you. Now, I'm not saying that because you have to remove yourself from relationship, friendship, different situations in order for you to truly get to know who you are as a person. So you can be authentic, you can stand in your truth, and no one or nothing is going to stop you from the vision that you've set for yourself. Now, with that doesn't mean, even though we have to eliminate some people or eliminate ourselves or remove ourselves from certain situation, I'm not saying that you need to do it all by yourself. It's okay to want support and your needs fulfilled by others. Like I mentioned earlier, you want to have that self-awareness. Are you people pleasing to gain acceptance, or are you going against your value, like what it is? Because for me, like I say, I have an aura to help others, but that can also be people pleasing. That's the line that sometimes can get blurry. And that's why it goes back to the core values that you've set for yourself, who you are at the core, the essence of who you are is what that goes back to when you're on that journey to building and reestablishing, having a healthy relationship with who you are as a person. At times, when we often think about building that relationship with ourselves, it can be hard. Because for me, I'm a girly girl as far as I love my friends. I love the different relationships that I've created and cultivated. And you get to a point in your life where you know that some of these relationships are not beneficial to you. They're not doing anything for you. They're no longer serving you, but because you may know someone for a long period of time, you essentially want to hold on to that relationship. And to be quite honest, you cannot grow if you're keeping individuals in your life who are not adding value, who are not good for your spirit, who are just not good for your soul. Right? The key is self-awareness. It's about understanding your needs so that you can seek out the right avenues to fulfill them. So it's very important that you remember that. If you don't take away anything else, the key to self-awareness is that, you can have your needs met by other individuals. You're not meant to have them all met alone or by yourself, but it's understanding your need so that you can seek out the right avenues to fulfill them. When it comes to fostering a healthy relationship with yourself, we all need the tools. You need the tools. You are the only one who can truly identify your needs. So again, when you're on the journey to establishing that relationship with yourself, you are the only one that can truly identify your needs. No one else can do that for you. That's just what it is. And I think for many of us, myself included, for a long period of time, I wanted my needs met by other people. And then I would get frustrated when those needs weren't met. But then ultimately, as I was doing my reflection and looking back over my life, at the end of the day, I'm the only one who can identify my needs. Can I express what my needs are to someone else? Of course. But at the end of the day, at the core, you are the only one who can truly identify your needs. So take the time to explore what you needed. Think about what you needed when you were younger versus what you needed or what you need now. And that's the fundamental step in the journey toward your self-awareness. Now, for the loners among us, because sometimes, like I say, we go about this life, oh, I'm a loner, I'm a loner. Many of us live by ourselves and we just consider and just told ourselves that we are loners. Now, if you are someone who consider yourself a loner, don't worry. This episode is also for you too. However, it is very important that we distinguish between being comfortable being alone and having a healthy self relationship or relationship with yourself, because they're not the same. They're not synonymous. Because many of us, we tend to build all these walls in the name of self-care, and then we tend to shut others out, and that's not necessarily the path to self-love or building a relationship with yourself. So you definitely want to identify the difference between being comfortable being alone and not trying to establish any other relationship or having a healthy relationship with yourself. Because even if if you're comfortable being alone, it doesn't mean that you have a good relationship with yourself. Because what are you doing in that alone time? Because when I think about healing my relationship with myself, I have become more intentional in my connections with others. I am still working on setting firm boundaries, because sometimes I will set these boundaries and I keep moving them back, like I would have mentioned, but I have gotten better. So I'm working, I am setting firm boundaries. You also want to have an open communication. You want to make sure that you're honoring your needs and you're pursuing your life goals should be non-negotiable, because that's for me on my journey that I am right now to loving myself and establishing what it means to truly love myself and have a relationship with myself. Sometimes when I say have a relationship with myself, it may sound crazy, but again, me honoring my needs, pursuing my life goals, they're just a non-negotiable. No one, nothing is gonna stop me and should stop you from going after what you desire. We're in a phase or in a space right now where we're no longer settling for less. The version of me that used to do that, she's no more. She's no more. And then that's where I become uncomfortable, because I am growing, I am elevating, and I am not some people are just no longer welcome in my space. As I reflect on my own life, I find myself, like I would have mentioned, on my elevation journey. For me, right now, self-worth is about no longer settling, or better yet, it's not even settling at all. It encompasses every facet of life. That means, our work life, our friendships, our relationships, or how I allow myself to be treated by others, even in the realm of business, like this podcast, the social media, all these different things that we are exposed to. We're just no longer settling. It's about, I want to say, being conscious about the spaces that you choose to be in, that you choose to occupy, and shaping that energy that you want to surround yourself with. We talk about, I'm all about energy. If your energy is not in alignment with mine, then we're going to have to go our separate ways, because you cannot live in your true or in your full essence when you are not maintaining your boundaries, when you are settling as well, and when you're surrounding yourself by people with energy who have a negative aura. Sometimes these people, the negative energy that you may receive from others is not even intentional on their end, but you, again, when you tap into who you are at the core, there are just some people, there are just some things that are no longer going to be in alignment with you as you're on this journey to becoming the better version of yourself. I truly and firmly believe, and I've been believing that more and more now, that in our souls, like there's just something innate in us that we have this wisdom, a way of knowing what we truly desire. And if you were like me, sometimes we know when we talk about trusting our gut and that intuition, we know what we desire, what we want, what we should be in alignment with. And sometimes we tend to go against that. Maybe again for people pleasing, for wanting acceptance, for wanting to fit in from what we may see on social media or in society. And it's like, no, I truly believe that our souls know there's like an innate wisdom and a way of knowing what we truly desire. And it's not even about the material possessions or material things, because that's material things are going to always come and they're going to always go. But it's about how we, let's say, experience love. Is the environments that we choose to immerse ourselves in, and it's also the support that we tend to receive from those in our lives. So when we think about it, aligning our actions and our inner dialogue with these soulful desires is I'll say, the pinnacle of having a healthy relationship with ourselves. It's about accepting nothing less and just simply allowing life to flow. And that's the life that I am trying and I've been living. No longer settling for less, no longer compromising who you are as a person just to fit in. Again, for me right now, while I'm on this journey, I'm having to relearn, and that's the hardest part for me. I'm having to relearn who I was, because to be honest, some part of me want the old Tanya back, but then like I say, the Tanya then also is not the Tanya now. So for me, craving the old me is kind of, it's not as productive as I imagine it in my head. But that personality that I got sucked out of me, I am trying to bring some semblance of that back. And as I'm on this journey and I'm learning to choose myself and putting myself first and making myself a priority, I am now realizing that it's possible. So if you're someone out there like me who have lost yourself by way of a relationship, friendship, just maybe even the peer pressure of it all, you want to do that complete audit of your life to ensure that you get back to the core of who you are. And I think one crucial aspect of this journey is understanding that you don't have to prove your worth to anyone, not even to yourself sometimes. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone, prove your worth to anyone. You can just simply be, just freaking be. And there's no greater power than just being. We talk about being still, just being. The idea of having to prove your worth to someone, or this is why you should love me, or this is why you should hire me. This is why, like, we're not doing that. We are not going to be doing that going forward. Just be. Just simply be. And it's not about making others feel like they're inadequate. It's just about tapping into our inner knowing and allowing that wisdom to guide us. Because again, I think we were truly born with an innate wisdom. We know what our desires are. We know what we want. but we just allow society or just certain things to change that when we know in our core that that's not what we desire. So just be and let things essentially flow. Now, to sum it all up, as we get ready to leave the tea tasting room today, I hope the tea was cool and good for you. But to sum it all up, when we embark on the path of examining our relationship with ourselves, I want you to take moments to reflect on how you talk to yourself. And I think the true test, as I close this episode and as you think about this, the true test often comes when let's say a challenge presents itself, when you make a mistake, when you're in the face of adversity or you're facing some sort of frustration. That's when I want you to observe how you talk to yourself, how the thoughts that you're having, and even how you're treating yourself in that moment, and ask yourself, would I talk to my sister? Would I talk to my friend? Would I talk to anybody else the way in which you're talking to yourself? And I think this step in that is to identify the journey that you're on, recognizing these patterns. Again, how am I talking? How am I thinking? How am I treating myself as well? You know, get in touch with your inner self. When we talk about that core, who you are, that innate wisdom, discovering what truly makes you happy. How are you meeting your needs? And then what needs are also unmet, and how are you going to get those needs met? Because again, developing and establishing a relationship by yourself does not mean you have to do every single thing by yourself. You can get your needs met elsewhere as well. You just have to identify how the needs that are unmet and how you're going to do it. And then again, it comes back down to your self-worth, knowing who you are as a person, realizing or recognizing what you deserve, and just practice giving yourself grace and having that genuine self-kindness for yourself. Because I'm currently on this journey. I'm on this journey as I'm working on building a healthier relationship with myself. I'm working on when I leave you with an affirmation of the week, I'm not just saying it because I want you to know. I mean, of course, I want you to believe it, but it's truly how I feel. That's how I build and work towards realizing and recognizing my self-worth, is by affirming myself. That's how I'm working towards building that relationship with myself. Because I used to be at one point in time where I needed someone to function, or I needed someone just to make me feel good. And right now, I don't. I honestly don't. It's about recognizing who I am as a person, working on exploring what I want to do, who I want to be. You know what I mean? Like realizing that I can give myself grace as I work to relearn who I am as a person, and as I cultivate or shape who I want to be, or who I want my future self to be as well. I believe that's what we are doing. And I hope you did enjoy this episode. It's relevant to anyone who's looking to explore some sort of relationship with themselves, trying to get away from the old version of their self as well. So I hope you found this tea to be one that you can digest. And I would love to hear your takeaways and learn more about what your relationship looks like with yourself. If you have any tips or suggestions for myself as well, definitely let me know. Connect with me on Instagram on the Tea with Tanya podcast on Instagram, and leave the comments on the latest post. Let me know. You can even send me a DM or email, whatever it is, so you can let me know what is it that you're doing or has been working for you on your journey. Or we can collaborate. Let me know. Help your girl out. I'm trying to help you. We're here to help each other. You know what I mean? So I would definitely love to hear that feedback. So thank you again for joining me here in the tea tasting room as we talk about the most important relationship, and that's what we have with ourselves. Definitely looking forward to the rest of this season. I want you to stay tuned because I do have some incredible guests coming up on this season. But of course, until next time, I want you to remember your self-worth is your compass on the path to a healthier, more fulfilling life. Your self-worth is your compass on the path to a healthier, more fulfilling life. That's one thing I definitely do want you to remember. And just with this affirmation, tell yourself, I forgive myself for past mistakes and embrace my growth and learning. I forgive myself for past mistakes and embrace my growth and learning. And just remember, your self-worth is your compass on the path to a healthier, more fulfilling life. Take care, and definitely I look forward to seeing you in the tea tasting room next week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Tea with Tanya. If you like this episode, be sure to share it with a friend. Don't forget to follow on Instagram at Tea with Tanya Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the weekly Tea Talk newsletter. And of course, rate on Apple or Spotify and subscribe wherever you listen. See you next time. I love you for listening.